Yes, we're welcome back to AFTV. It's time to do a Predict 11 video. What we think the manager's going to go with and what we'd like to see will be the conversation topics within this video. I'm joined by James, and I've got Laurie on this one. Yes, Laurie, welcome.
Respect, man.
Let's do this. We're going to go through the 11, and we'll go through it from the bottom to top. So let's start. Neto in goal for this one?
No. Absolutely. Why change a winning team?
When I started seeing him diving for shots outside of his goal, I thought, there's Rusty and then there's that. He's forgotten the rules.
Yeah, that's...
which is slightly concerning. It wasn't a great debut. We need a...
Sure.
And look, part of me thinks it's so harsh to judge him off one game, but we knew it was an emergency loan just to do a job in the squad. And, maybe that explains why he didn't get a run in, for example, the FA Cup game, which we needed to beat Man United, because I was thinking, surely he could play maybe that one.
Yeah.
And I know the context suggests that Raya had to play. But look, if Raya's not fit, I think he is, but if he's not fit, then Neto has to.
Yeah, there's rumours that he's got a knock.
That was strange words by Arteta. I don't know if it was these...
Well, at first it was illness, I heard, and then we, I don't know if I put on Twitter, we were sat in front of David Raya, and he seemed sprightly, he seemed good, he seemed happy, so I was just like, okay, he's not ill.
He's
but
fine.
Then,
Arteta's got to protect himself, because if we didn't win that game, and look, a Neto error would have been a part of it, for example, the first goal, and we've got one of Real Madrid or Man City, for example, in the next round because we finished 5th or 6th or something like that. It's little things like that. I think we had to ensure we won the game. But at the same time, we wanted to get that second goalkeeper run out, and he probably just thought, let me just make it out that Raya wasn't able to play. So then there's just no questions, really.
It was... you may remember, I advocated for Neto to start in the previous game against Zagreb, and I remember, was it you or Robbie came at me?
Us.
And the reason why I was saying, I was like, yeah, bro, we barely know what this guy looks like, let alone plays. At some point, we need to see what he's like in goal. And I was saying, give him a run out. And then, of course, he gets a run out against Girona, and it doesn't go well for him. But I would say this, listen, man, he's... and that is sometimes the vagaries when you're not playing. You get put into a high-profile game like that, and he was clearly nervous because, if you recall, in the first couple of minutes, he slipped over quite badly, didn't he? And then, of course, Girona scored that goal, which he's heavily at fault for. He's lucky, really, that when he tried to connect, remember when he put his hand up to try and save the shot? How did he have touched that? You'd probably be aware anyway. He would have got sent off.
Yeah, red card, of course.
That would have been...
No, we're lucky he went in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're genuinely lucky he scored.
Yeah.
So I'd say that.
There'd have been another red card.
But it was a shocking debut. But listen, man, I'd like to think, and I'm pretty sure that he's a better goalkeeper than what he showed that night.
Of course he is. And look, we're all being a bit facetious, having our fun. He's obviously better than what we saw. And if we need him to play, it's probably not useful of us to tear him apart, which I've done a little bit. But he just wasn't good. It was a bad debut. But he's got years of experience playing for Barcelona, Premier League with Bournemouth. Yeah, we know this guy is better than what he showed. But Raya's got to start, and Neto will only play this season if needed. That's the big word. I don't think there'll be a situation in which we decide we want to play him. It will be, all right, we've got no choice. That's just the reality of the situation.
Okay, let's move on, because it's going to be David Raya in goal. I think we all want to see that, and also I think Arteta's going to go with that. Of course, it's a big game against City. Let's go to right back. Obviously, Tomiyasu, another man who I haven't really seen his face in such a long time. Yeah, exactly who. There's reports that he could be back this weekend, but I think I don't know as much. Point? Yeah, I don't know as much. Ben White. I know Ben White was 2 weeks ahead of schedule. I think I mentioned that before on Predict 11
And when
videos.
I say what's the point, I'm not trying to be... I'll just get to Dubai. Let them have the warm weather training, get him on the pitch a little bit, and then have him sort of good for what's left after Dubai. What's the point now? Because Timber's going to be our starting player because he's been the best in that position. Unless Tomiyasu's actually genuinely fit, and I could see why you'd bring him on to maybe see out a game, but you still got Jakub Kivior, Lewis-Skelly or Calafiori, one of them's got to play, so you got 2 on the bench there. Kieran Tierney can come on and see out a game. I just wouldn't bother.
And not only that, I think it's worth making the point, even if he was deemed to be fit, you can't put him into a game like this.
Yeah. That's
absolutely no way.
Yeah, spot on.
You know what I mean? Because he's not going to be up and running. Then you're going to get a possible situation with the likes of Neto. He makes a high-profile mistake, and people are saying, well, why did he play in the first place? So it wouldn't even be fair to him.
Okay.
Even if he was fair, it would not be fair to him to start, certainly.
So. Well, let's skip through them, because this is clear what we want to see man's go with. Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, centre-back pairing, simple. Left-back. Who takes that left-back?
Lewis-Skelly. Has to be.
Has
to be. No disrespect to Calafiori. Calafiori will in time, I'm sure show his worth. But how could you drop Miles Lewis-Skelly? You can't.
Now that's very interesting. The reason why I seem perplexed is because when I asked Robbie, he goes, "No, Calafiori starts for this game," and I'm trying to think.
What was his rationale for?
Well, he's come on. He's come on against Wolves, done well. He's still a good left back. He scored the goal that won us the game, and then on top of that, against City last time, obviously Calafiori also scored a really important goal. However, I'm not advocating for Calafiori as well because I think Miles Lewis-Skelly will have a bit. It's gonna. Again, I'm putting emotion ahead for this game. I want them to be really riled up for it. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly will be able to embody that. But I'm quite surprised you both have gone, it's a dead cert. Well, Miles Lewis-Skelly.
No. So it's what I want. I want Lewis-Skelly.
Okay.
But I don't think he two teenagers against Man City at home.
I think he goes.
And I think Nwaneri will play. So basically, skipping ahead slightly, if Lewis-Skelly does start this game, then I think he'll go Martinelli on the right and Trossard on the left. If he goes for Calafiori, I think he's more inclined to go for Nwaneri. And you know what? A lot of people go, who cares? You've got two teenagers. Look, we are playing a team that have won the last 4 Premier League titles. The greatest Premier League manager of, I think it's Fergie, but one of the greatest Premier League managers of all time. Yeah. And in that, you've also got a team of very experienced players. They're also quite a physical side, City. They do have pace and power. Even though that's a De Bruyne, they get about. It's a tough ask for 18-year-olds to be thrown into, and I could understand why Arteta would want to go for just one or the other. And I think he'll go Nwaneri. So I think he'll
go Calafiori for this game. It's a big game.
Yeah, I think he'll go Calafiori, but I would go with Miles.
Yeah, Slovenia obviously gave Calafiori a bit of a tough way. He did give him a tough time in the goal that they scored. So
Lewis-Skelly's a better ground jeweler, I think.
It's close, but I think you're right. No, I think you're right.
Calafiori is really good on the recovery, and he's got that like Declan Rice ability to stick out a leg, while he's sort of gliding on the other knee, drag the ball back, and suddenly he's made a tackle and he's off. He's got that kind of ability to win a tackle that he didn't think he had any right to win. But I think when it comes to the physical battle and then players running at him, Lewis-Skelly seems to have held his own a little bit more. And I felt that when he played Morgan Rogers, I thought this is a real test for Miles. And he didn't he strolled through it. I thought it was a masterful performance to shut down one of the most dynamic attackers in the league. And I don't know if Calafiori would have done the same job. I think, at left back, I'm not sure he looks quite as comfortable when it comes to that as he does.
Will they target Miles Lewis-Skelly? Will they target him, City? Because he holds on to the ball, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing because he holds on to it and he does retain the ball, but it's something that City, I think, the way they press, how high they are, especially for the front foot press, I think, I don't know, it's something they might look at as, listen, if we surround this kid, we can get joy here. That's the only thing. But I want Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think I actually wholeheartedly agree with you. I think you'll go with Calafiori. You want Miles Lewis-Skelly, and do you believe Arteta?
And when I say that, it's not to denigrate Calafiori, but I'm saying in terms of form, legs, energy, I think Miles Lewis-Skelly is perfect for this game. I was about to say you kind of preempted what I said with the way he handled Morgan Rogers in that Villa game. And listen, man, especially after what happened last week, Miles Lewis-Skelly will be desperate to come in and, I shouldn't use the word redeem himself because that's probably not the right phrase, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he has a point to prove. After last week, he'll have the backing of the crowd. I just think it makes sense. Calafiori is a very able impact sub. Yeah. We need to do that later. But I would, if I'm the manager, and again, I hear what James is saying, the manager, Calafiori's perhaps greater physicality and experience. But for me, it's got to be Miles Lewis-Skelly. I
think Miles Lewis-Skelly is mentally ready for this game. It's a big game. It's at home as well, so you have the home crowd behind you. And I also, just quickly, I know I've done a long time as left back situation, but the whole Haaland saying, who the F are you? I hope he does play Miles, and I hope Miles gives him that North London derby energy anyway. All the players that he faces come Sunday. Let's go into midfield. Let's do the midfield three. Is it just?
Yeah, I think it's Odegaard, Partey, Rice. Right, yeah, okay. I think it's got to be.
Yeah, man. Partey
had quite a good
Odegaard.
game of Wolves, I thought.
Yeah.
I
mean, we all agree. We don't want to see Partey at right back anymore. But in midfield, he's probably been, if not our best midfielder, he has had a very good season.
Can I defend Mikel on the Partey right back thing though a little bit, which is, I've put forward solutions like Rice at right back, and I think he could have played Timber right back and give your centre back against Villa. He could have. But the one thing I'll say though is, Arteta hasn't stacked a position in terms of quality for the number of players we've got as much as right back. White, Tomiyasu, Timber. I think all three could be starting right backs in a title-winning side. I genuinely think all three of them at their best are that good. At left back too, absolutely stacked. So he's forced to play Partey there. Like, I know people go, we never want to see it again, and I agree. And I think there were other things he could have done. Like I said, keep your centre back. But the other night when he started at right back Partey and Danjuma, had some fun down the left. There's no question they scored down that side. But I'd much rather Partey had 45 minutes where he struggled a bit off the ball but was good on the ball, to ensure we manage Timber's minutes right for this game on the weekend.
I'm not sure if you've seen it, but Danjuma made some remarks after the game. He wasn't necessarily being disrespectful. He said, and this perhaps goes to what I was saying, that they had apparently part of their tactics in that game was to attack Partey because they saw it as a potential weakness. Now, the way he articulated in the interview, it wasn't a disrespect to him. He was saying that they've had some problems there, and the coach said, listen, let's attack him because there may be some joy there. And he said, we were very pleased that it worked out the way the coach told us. So I think that in itself kind of explains that teams now, whenever they see Partey at right back, they're almost thinking, right, that's the way you could get at us.
Yeah, but we need White and Tomiyasu back fit, and then we'll ensure we never have to see it.
Listen, man, Partey will do a job for the team. He's a committed Arsenal player. He does his best, but I don't think the right back thing's working. However, in midfield, he's possibly been our best midfielder this season,
and that's where he's going to have to play this Sunday. I think you're right. I think that's the strongest midfield three that we can all agree on. There is obviously Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. So that'll be the midfield three. Odegaard, I think anyone he needs. It's a big game for him.
Yeah, it is.
But I feel like I'm a big fan of Odegaard. Let me make that very clear. He's a magician on the ball.
Told me off camera.
He's a magician on the ball, and he's actually a joy to watch. Someone you'd pay money to watch when he's at his best. But I really, for this game, I need a real captain's performance from him. I think people have been questioning him of late just a little bit. The performance level has dipped since returning from his absence. So this one, big game for him. Front three, people. This is where it gets tricky because we're going to talk about Ethan Nwaneri, and let's start there. He has to start.
Yeah, you know what? I would start him, but if the manager doesn't start him, I can see why. Because Martinelli, as we all know, has that blistering pace that, might be the difference maker on the day. So, it's a bit of a quandary for the manager, but it's hard to drop Nwaneri, isn't it? It's hard, man, because the other day, seriously, he was the leading light. It's kind of hard to just bench him, but him coming on as an impact sub, though, would be excellent as well.
Did you guys catch the City-Chelsea game? They were playing with, and sorry for anyone who's watched Forever Arsenal, I'm repeating myself, but they played with Nunes at right back and Gvardiol at left back, bombing right up the pitch, like proper old school overlapping fullbacks. When I say overlapping, that suggests that the ball went out to the winger and then they made charging runs. No, they were almost in starting positions up there.
Pitch,
Now, Ethan Nwaneri, when we're on the ball, is undoubtedly the best player we've got out on the right, behind Bukayo Saka. There's no question about it. But I just wonder if he's going to need Trossard and Martinelli to track those fullbacks, and if he's going to ask them to do a particular job on the outside that we haven't seen. That Ethan Nwaneri, a 17-year-old, which I don't blame him for, we haven't seen that he necessarily has the awareness, the maturity, the tactical understanding to know to follow Gvardiol all the way, but also when to leave him. So when we're trying to press, do you go with him, do you not? People might go, James, it's so boring and nerdy, stop overthinking it. But I do think these are things you've got to think about
100%.
sometimes. It's nullifying. Gvardiol, laugh or not, we saw in the run-in and we've seen it at times this season, certainly saw against Chelsea, is one of their biggest threats. Right now, outside of like Haaland and his goals, it's like their biggest threat. He's a brilliant player. And I just think there's a chance he's going to opt for Martinelli on the right because he trusts him more to cover that run.
It's interesting because I hear what you're saying, and that's why that was my rationale for Sterling not starting so many games, not appearing, because he wasn't understanding the defensive duties as well. Granted, though, against Girona, he's changed when it came to defending wise as well and getting forward.
I felt sorry for the penalty miss. I thought he played better.
Yeah, he did. And Arteta's definitely getting into him because, like I said, it was a completely different performance when I saw him last come on.
Oh, do you think he played well, Sterling?
He did play well.
I thought he played fine.
Played well.
I thought he was all right.
Apart from the penalty.
That's interesting.
He was taking on his fullback more and actually having more inside, whatever. It just didn't amount to much, but I thought he looked a lot brighter. Whereas when I've seen him recently, he's got the ball on the right, and he looks like he doesn't know what to do.
I thought he made a bright start, but there wasn't. There's plenty of endeavour and effort, so you can't fault him for that. I just think that the end product wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah, no.
And then there was two things that kind of epitomised this game for me. One was obviously the penalty, which
the other one was the yellow
you
card.
could almost tell he was going to miss it.
When he got a dive, was the second one? When he got booked for going down. Was that the
No,
second
I'm talking about
missed.
the penalty.
He only missed, yeah, okay, cool. I thought he was going to say, you said
I don't know about you guys.
You said there was two things. I thought.
Yeah, I'm going to come to the second thing in a minute. So the penalty, I'm not being funny, man, and I feel sad to say this because I actually do like Raheem Sterling, but it's almost like I knew he was not going to score.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people
The
did.
conviction and confidence just wasn't there. Straight away, I could detect that. Secondly, if you remember, there was a time in the second half where he actually made a run, ghosted past 2 or 3 man, the shot open, and we're waiting for him to, you know what I mean, at least make the goalkeeper work. And the shot was so weak, it literally dribbled to the keeper. And I looked at that and I
After
thought...
what Nwaneri did earlier in the game.
And I looked at that, man, and I thought, you know what?
Yeah, it's not happening.
He's looking like he's done, man. And that's sad for me to say because, you know what I mean, I really wanted him to do well.
I thought it was bright. I hear what you're saying. I saw people. I watched the watch along. I watched some of the watch along. I watched some of the in fan camps. I saw people online as well. Figure Curtis as well saying the same kind of sentiment you said about Sterling. But I thought he's better than what I've seen in an Arsenal show of late. So in that game,
he's
so
trying,
pick him up.
but he's just not there.
So we're gonna go Ethan on the We want to see Ethan.
You've changed my mind.
No.
I think it'll be Lewis-Skelly left.
Oh, you don't want to see
I'm saying that it's so hard to drop him because I personally regard him as the most exciting talent in the team right now.
Yeah, so you want to see Ethan start?
No. I'm saying that I can understand why the manager will play Martin, and I'll actually go with him if he does play Martinelli. But I do want to see Ethan at some stage as an impact sub.
Oh, okay. So your thing is you want to see Martinelli, and you think the manager will
for the reasons you guys stated, the defensive ability that it has, the experience, and I threw in that other tangent as well about the pace.
Fair.
The raw pace.
Football is more thought through. So James, you're definitely on the right path. But I want to see Ethan,
don't get it twisted. I want to see him play a significant part of the game.
I hear
just
that.
saying I wouldn't necessarily start him.
I want him to start. That's it.
No,
and
but
and
that's
defensive
fine.
duties, I think you're right. Because like I said, you're on the right path. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think I would if I was Arteta, put trust in him to just do it. He seems to rise to every occasion. We haven't really seen much of it though, I'll be honest. When he was talking about it, I can't think back when he's sprinted all the way back and made a crucial interception. But give him the chance. For me, you've come to a decision on what you think you...
I tell you, just think, if Arteta wants to really energise the Emirates, Lewis-Skelly left back, Nwaneri on the right, and you just go for it. Just go for
That's the energy I'm on.
A wounded Man City. I think that would be irresponsible, but that would get the Emirates just
up
on their feet going, yeah, come on, let's have a real go.
Alternatively, can you imagine in the, say, 60th minute when legs are already starting to tire, Guardiola looks up and sees Nwaneri coming on, he's thinking, oh, man.
I don't know if he had. I don't think you get that fear factor from that. That sounds crazy because how good his talent is. But that wouldn't. If I was a player, it wouldn't put me with fear. Like, oh no, him coming off the bench. I think him being on the pitch adds something extra to Arsenal. I know it sounds. I don't know if it's confusing to people that are listening. But for me, he doesn't seem a player that if I was on pitch would strike fear into me. However, when he's on the pitch, you see his quality and you just think when he starts to think, oh, okay, I have to really be concentrating on this youngster. I don't know why, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say, but it's just what it makes sense in my head, clearly.
Yeah, I think he'll go Nwaneri, Havertz, and Martinelli on the left. And I think he'll go
listen, man, either way. But it's kind of a bit difficult for me because the other day I was like bigging up Nwaneri as we all were, and I was saying, no, he must play, he must start. But now, in the cold light of days since the game, I've been thinking, obviously you turn your attentions to City and the problems they might bring. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe starting Martinelli makes sense. As long as Nwaneri gets a significant amount of time to do his thing, I'm cool with it.
All right, well, it's safe to say we're all fans of Ethan Nwaneri and hope we do see him in a game against Man City this Sunday. But that is it for the Predict 11 from what we want to see and what we kind of believe that the manager's going to go with. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Who would you want to see? Do you agree with our 11s, or is there someone that we're forgetting about or you'd like to see have a big impact in this game come Sunday? It's a big one. Bit of rivalry, bit of feistiness in that game I'm hoping for, and hopefully Arsenal can win the game comfortably. Just before we Your score prediction as you went on the preview just for this game.
I'm going for Arsenal by the odd goal. I think it's going to be a very tight game. I do agree with what Robbie was saying earlier when he described it as war. I think it will really get a bit testy, to say the least. But I'm backing Arsenal. I think the crowd will make it a bit of a cauldron. I think the players will rise to the occasion. But I fancy us by the odd goal.
Big up. Thank you to Laurie. Thank you to James. And make sure you keep it locked here on AFTV and we'll see you soon. Take care.